Rani, I'm going to introduce you and tell everyone a little bit about you and your work for those of the people watching along who are not familiar with you yet. I'm familiar with you, and I know some people in our group are, and I've personally referred some people, some parents to you for your work and that sort of deep dive unconscious work. So I want to read a little bit about the work you do and who you are, just so people are a little bit familiar. So
thanks,
everyone,
Thank you.
Rani is a transformational hypnotherapist, and yes, I can say that from personal experience, because often we carry a lot of pain and unprocessed, we've got some programming from our childhoods, right? So that stuff impacts the way we parent day to day. So her work is really at healing the root of the issue so that we have this emotional freedom to respond rather than react, and to show up as the parent we want to be. And she is just brilliant at harnessing the power of the subconscious, helping us heal, helping us rise up, helping us to magnetize the life that we desire and be the parent or the person that we want to be. So, like I said, her work is amazing, and we have her on today for the interview. I'm going to ask her some questions, and she's actually going to take us through a live group hypnotherapy journey. And we spoke a little bit about it just before we hopped on live. And so for those of you towards the end of the call who are able to, we would love you to kind of be involved in that and to be able to access some of the sort of roots of the current struggles that you may be having with your kids. So things that are stressing you, frustrating you, triggering you. And she will take us through a beautiful journey all together, which is going to be really awesome.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for that. So definitely hang around to the end, you guys who are watching, because it's going to be epic. And the beauty of that type of exercise is, like, you might do that today and you might do it like the replay next month, and different things might come up for whatever happens to be relevant for you in that particular moment.
Yeah, 100%. So I want to kind of ask you first off, why did you get into this work? I always like to kind of hear people's backstory or journey, what's brought you to now thinking, you know what, I need to share this wisdom or the skills that I have about getting to people's subconscious and undoing some of the stuff that is really blocking people from where they want to be.
Yeah, well, I used to be always this type of person who was always very encouraging of, like, the person that people went to when they were like in doubt, or like, what should I do, or what can I do? It happens. It's been happening ever since I was young. And I guess it's part of my kind of family dynamic and the situation that I grew up in. It was kind of like Brady Bunch plus one. So my dad had 3 kids, my mom had 3 kids, and then they got together and then had me, like, probably 10 or 15 years kind of even later than some of my other siblings. And yeah, so I just always had this way of moving through the world where I was actively trying to help people. And for a long time, I feel like that was probably not coming from the healthiest of places. I feel like maybe that was, like this fixer or this rescuer and things like that. But as I moved through my life into my 20s and 30s and 40s, and I developed my own spiritual practice and became a mother myself, I really was able to, and then also with studying hypnotherapy and a whole bunch of other different modalities, I was then able to heal the things that were kind of, that made me then be able to help in a more of a freeway where I'm not necessarily like wanting to rescue or anything. I can just do it from a place of peace right now. So yeah, it's always been, that was the long answer. And the short answer is, this helping people and like helping them step into belief is just always what I've always done. It's just only now that I've been able to probably heal my own attachments or wounds around codependency and and all of that type of family dynamic, so that when I now show up, I can do my work. I think that was the thing that was kind of waiting to drop in before I could step into doing this professionally.
Wow, that's such an awesome story, such an amazing story.
Yeah.
It just shows that you've always had this like knack or this gift, maybe I should say gift.
Yeah.
And you've just honed it and further learned and studied and, like you said, done your own inner work so that you're able to help people do theirs.
Yeah. And like self-belief is just so important, you know, and all of the parents watching this know, like whenever their child is facing some kind of a challenge, you know, we just want our kids to believe in themselves or to know that they're enough. And it doesn't matter what you do or don't do, but like if they can believe in themselves, then that is what is going to get them to where they want to go. And so yeah, believing in yourself is really important. And that's why I love being a hypnotherapist, because when we work on the belief level, then the surface level things change.
Yes.
You know, like I was working with someone the other day whose child has an extreme phobia of something quite common. I don't really want to say, just for the privacy of the person, just in case, you know, someone knows someone or something. I don't want to name that exact condition because it's so specific that, you know, you kind of be like, oh, that must be such and such. Yeah. And so this one specific belief, this one expression of dysfunctional pain, it's so much so that that child can't even go to school on a regular day because there's exposure to this one particular thing that is a trigger for this phobia. And so really working on the belief level right at the core is so important, especially when it comes to other things like body image. You know, there's another client that I had last week actually, whose life is really not how she wants it to be because she's so consumed with her own body image, and it's just destroyed her quality of life on a day-to-day basis. And see, this is how you can, you know, understand what I'm talking about with the subconscious mind. So her mom, you can say till you're blue in the face, darling, you're beautiful, you're perfect, you're amazing.
Yeah.
And that child is still crying, thinking I'm fat and hideous and horrible. You know, it's just heartbreaking, but that just goes to show the way that the human mind works. Our conscious mind, our thinking mind, can't really accept the fact that I am beautiful, I am enough, because coming deeper than that, the thing that drives all of our behavior is our subconscious beliefs.
Yeah.
So no amount of consciously knowing, oh yeah, I look like this and that person looks like that, and yeah, they're almost the same, and yeah, that's true, I'm not really fat. No amount of like common sense about the reality of the situation will not override the feeling inside that I'm hideous, or that I'm not enough, or that I'm too this, or I'm too that, or I'm different.
I was going to say, what are some of those unconscious limiting beliefs that are at the root of, you know, us being blocked to be a certain way, or to, you know, for parents, let's say, to let go of the triggers of their child's challenging, noisy, disruptive behavior, stuff like that? What are some of those? I remember, was it in, might have even been in one of our sessions, some of those beliefs of I'm not good enough and I don't belong, and like those, they sound very like simple and short and not good enough, I don't belong, sort of thing. I can't do it. But what are some of those, and how do they really from the subconscious block that conscious ability to do things?
So the most common beliefs that come up for parents and children, and like just humans in general, is I'm not enough. And that's like a overarching belief that could have like any number of expressions. When I'm working with my clients, I'm actually taking them down deeper into their own subconscious. They might already be able to know, oh yeah, let's say I get overwhelmed really easily when we're trying to rush out the door, or if my child needs me too much emotionally, or if they're screaming, I can't cope and I just shut down. So that expression, like when I would go deep into that in a session, I'd be looking for like, what is it really that's the key there? Which might be like, I'm not, even though it's under the umbrella of I'm not enough, it's like, I'm not enough to cope in this situation because there's too many things going on. So I'm not enough is a really oversimplification. When I'm working one-on-one or even in a group, we're able to get a little bit closer to what that specific person's limiting belief is, so that we can really hit the target. Because like, imagine if you're looking through like a scope, right, with the crosshairs, if you're just 1 degree off, you're not quite going to hit that target. And the target is important because we need to reverse the limiting beliefs. And the second part of your question was how it impacts us as parents. Is that right? How our limiting beliefs come up as parenting. Let me give you an example. Someone in my before I had kids, someone in my family was around their kid, and their kid was like getting so upset, and my family member was like couldn't cope. And I thought, that's really interesting. I wonder where that came from. Did I get treated like that too? And then when I became a parent myself, I noticed that my toughest moments were those moments of intense emotional need from my child, and I also did that same thing. And so you can kind of see those patterns throughout family groups. If your parent was emotionally unavailable, you might find it a bit hard to be available at certain times, like if you're busy or if you're rushing or you're trying to get out the door, or someone's being overly needy. If you yourself have been taught to suppress your own needs, when you see someone being super needy, you're like, can you please stop? Because that's actually repulsive, So any of our unprocessed childhood pain can affect our parenting in a myriad of ways, so many different ways. But the way that I think that you can really tell or know that that's what's happening is when you have that feeling of like that dysregulation, when you have that out of control feeling like, oh my God, I know I shouldn't be yelling right now. Like I literally just was working on it, but you still are. Or you want to be doing it this way, but you just can't, you're just almost powerless to your own emotions, which are hijacking you in a certain direction. And I feel like that's a common thread that a lot of people here watching will relate to. Let us know in the comments if you can relate, and if so, what are your struggles?
Yeah, guys, definitely put them down. If you're watching now live in Let's Raise Emotionally Intelligent Kids, put them underneath the video, put them in the comments, because I can see a couple coming through, and we want to be able to respond to you guys. Even if you're watching later, this is going to go up on YouTube, so please also put some comments down below so we can respond to them. I just think your work is so powerful, and it's really hard with just surface level conscious strategies, to change behavior, let's say,
because surface level strategies will only get you so far. So I think it's good to still do that. I work with my clients in that capacity too. I will offer, surface level solutions just so that we can clear that up. But without the deeper level of change within oneself, without the deeper healing around those issues, it's really hard to then show up like from that place of love and not from your wounds. It's really challenging. And the other thing is like in our tolerances, if there's parts of ourselves that we can't tolerate, we will not tolerate that in our child either. That, there's no perfect way to do your inner work than to have a child, right? Like so much stuff comes up.
Yeah, I was only saying the other day, I can't remember who it was to, it was about, being able to allow and acknowledge and really sort of permit ourselves to have strong, unpleasant emotions like anger, frustration, even sadness, disappointment, irritation, confusion, all that stuff. If we can't allow that and sit with that in ourselves, and we get on social media, or we throw ourselves into our work, or we, squash it down and, I don't know, drink or use some other coping mechanism, then if we can't tolerate that in ourselves and be okay with those really uncomfortable emotions, how are we going to be able to show up for our kids and allow our child to have those emotions, which we know they're going to have? We're probably going to distract them. We're going to be dismissive. We're going to use distraction. We're not going to just allow and witness and let it sort of go through, like let it move through. So Yeah, I think there's a lot of us who, as parents, we maybe didn't get that stuff when we were kids, and so now it's sort of followed us through. Before we do our live hypnotherapy journey, I wanted to ask, can you talk a little bit about, we've kind of touched on, I think, that what is unprocessed trauma and the wounds, are they the same thing? And how do we know when we have those from our child?
Well, I feel like basically most people, if you said to them 5 years ago, oh, do you have any trauma? You'd be like, no, I'm fine. Because you'd just be thinking, okay, was I abused? I don't want to, was I abused? Did this happen? Did that happen? And if the answer was no to any of those things, then no, I have no trauma. Or if you haven't been to war. But actually now, as time goes on, with more awareness in psychology and in childhood development, we're realizing the real impact of certain moments throughout a child's life that really impact not just them in that moment, but their own self-beliefs. Because and my personal belief is this: it doesn't necessarily matter what the trauma was, whether it's capital T trauma or lowercase t trauma. What matters, what signifies it as trauma, is the fact that it can still be affecting you in a negative way decades later. And so I have worked with a lot of different clients. Actually, I'm just going to give you one specific example of a woman who came to me because she was really stuck on this treadmill of overworking. She was almost working herself into ill health. And so when we went back to there was a whole other thing. She was also said she was drinking too much and blah, 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 blah. But I don't really go deep on those. I don't really need to focus on those surface level expressions about the overwork, the poor eating, the over drinking and all of that, because I don't even need to do that. I just need to go to the actual issue, and those other things will automatically evaporate. Anyway, so we went to whatever it was that was blocking her, because her conscious mind, she spent hours and hours thinking, okay, why do I do this? What's my programming? Why am I working so hard? But actually something had happened to her in her childhood that she didn't really realize was affecting her in this way. And it's quite a tragic story. And I'll just change a couple of the details in order to protect the identity of my client. But basically it was this really tragic scene of her at the kitchen table. She was 7 years old. Her mum had just died 2 months prior, or like quite a short period of time around that. And she'd just gotten home from school, and the house was heavy and dark, and her dad was absolutely depressed. I don't know for how long, but he was depressed in this scene. And she comes to him with her report card, which was filled with A's and beautiful comments and what an amazing student this little girl is. And him in his sadness, he just basically like looks at it and like goes back to his grief. To my client, in that moment, she had so much emotion just overwhelming her, just the sadness of a little girl that wanted to be hugged and broken. And it was in that moment where she believed, I am not enough as I am. I need to strive. I need to push. I need to hustle in order to be that particular person. And so even though this isn't a story about a parent, it's a story about a child. And I wanted to share that story because it can be these little moments in a child's life that deeply affect who they are in terms of their self-belief. And if you don't have self-belief that reflects a high self-worth, then you will naturally just attract situations that reflect back to you your poor self-belief, or whatever is your standard of self-belief that gets repeated back to you in the situations that you attract.
Yeah, that story, it literally gave me goosebumps. And I just think so many parents as children will have experienced some level of, like we said, maybe lowercase t trauma, things that weren't greatly physically or otherwise affecting us, but they still left their mark.
Exactly.
They still left that wound that was never resolved, and so it sits there with us and continues decades later, like you said.
Exactly. And then you move through life proving those self-beliefs to be true.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that you believe in yourself, then you find situations that confirm what you believe. That's just how the human mind works. And so really going back and unpacking these little woundings within ourselves, it changes the way that we show up in the world. So, you know, before I used to be really intolerant of neediness. We touched on it a little bit before, because I put aside my own needs in my own childhood. And like I said, the hardest times with my own child was when she was being super needy to me and I wasn't able to handle it. And now that I have done my own inner healing and my own subconscious work and all of these practices that I work with on a daily basis, I'm doing on myself as well as my clients. And so I was able to really go to the core of my own inner wounding with my own mum and forgive her for the pieces that she wasn't able to do any differently, and to just really sink into like a deepened state of peace about that. Like out of all of my siblings, I literally am the only one who has that true peace with regards to the wounds that we experienced, which sometimes involved emotional abandonment. And and so I can't even remember what I was saying about. Why was I telling you this story? I have no idea.
Don't worry. It was I think it really just brings home the importance of doing this inner work for ourselves, taking that time, getting support from people just like yourselves, because we can't do this stuff on our own. It's deep in our subconscious. We don't know it's there until it is brought out and drawn out by someone who's able to support us. So I'm looking at the time and I think now is a perfect time for us to delve into the therapy journey. Do you want to you explain it, introduce it, and I'm going to get ready.
Yeah. Are you gonna join, Steph? You're gonna do it? Okay. Yeah. So basically, whatever it is that you all are experiencing right now, whatever is coming up for you in your own parenting and whatever challenges you the most, perhaps it's like a behavior that you're intolerant of, or a certain style that you want to let go of, or a certain thing that's triggering you, or whatever it is that's your greatest challenge right now, just hold that as a loose intention. And we're going to do a beautiful hypnotherapy journey together right now, which will only take about 15 or 20 minutes. Or you can save this and watch it later if you're busy, and you can watch it multiple times as well, because each time something new might come up. So if you'd like to go ahead and get into a nice and comfortable position, just beginning with your eyes open. And without moving your face, just with your eyes only, look all the way up, almost as if you're looking into your own eyebrows, and find a place to look at on the ceiling. And just focusing all of your attention on that one spot. You're already beginning to relax and drift down. Just going ahead and taking a long, slow, and deep inhalation within the natural rhythms of your breath. Just filling your lungs all the way up with air, and then keep looking at that spot. As you now begin to exhale, just keep your eyes looking up as you now close your eyelids down over the top of your upward looking eyes, so that many of you might be feeling a fluttering sensation. And if you don't, you could open your eyes to have a look at the screen and see what I'm doing in this demo. Just looking up as you then close your eyelids down. That's it. And now just closing your eyelids altogether and allowing them to switch off. Just imagining in your mind's eye that you're looking down a set of 10 stairs, and you can see your feet and hear your feet and feel your feet treading down each step. You're taking step 10 as every nerve, every muscle just lets loose and you go deeper. You're taking step 9 as you just begin to allow your mind to fully switch off. You're taking step 8. You can really feel an incremental change, an incremental deepening with every single number that I count. You're taking step 7. And there's literally nothing that you need to be thinking about right now. You can just allow your thinking mind to drift away. You're taking step 7 and 6 and 5, and you're halfway down now. You still have a lot more room to deepen into full relaxation. As you really focus in on each and every word that I'm saying, allowing yourself to accept all of these suggestions that feel aligned. You're taking step 4, just really dropping down now to that next level. And any noises or movements around you or through the line, or even the birds in the trees or cars or voices outside, they all actually serve to transport you deeper and deeper on this inner journey as your attention focuses inward. You're taking step 3, just letting go and drifting down deeper and deeper. It's almost like a deep sleep of the nervous system. You're taking step 2, just letting go, and taking step 1, just be there now. The most beautiful, calming and peaceful healing space. You're relaxing your head and your shoulders, your face and your cheeks, your throat. It's almost like a mental massage that you're giving yourself, and every part of your body that you place your attention on, it just releases and relaxes deeply. Your upper arms, your elbows, your lower arms and your hands, your chest, your upper back, your tummy, your lower back, all of the muscles alongside of your spine, just letting go as they fully support you nonetheless. Your hips and your buttocks, your thighs, the backs of your thighs, your knees even, the backs of your knees, your lower legs, your heels, the tops of your feet, the bottoms of your feet, your toes. And as you just listen to the sound of my voice, you're relaxing the entire body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Just letting go and drifting down deeper and deeper with every word that I say. And as you drift, my voice continues to travel with you. And in a moment, I'm going to count from 5 to 1. And as you just drift, letting go of the need to think, when I get to the number 1, you're going to be back in a scene that is absolutely relevant to whatever is your challenge right now that you face. Just letting go of that intention as you trust your subconscious mind to absolutely show to you whatever it is that you need to see, whatever it is that holds the key to what you're working on right now in your parenting. And letting go of the need to think, or for whatever this might be, or wherever you need to go. This is not a job for your memory. As you just drift down deeper and deeper, you're letting go of the need to think, just listening to these instructions and knowing and trusting that when I say the number 1, you're going to be back in a scene that is absolutely relevant to what it is we're working on. And so on the count of 5, you're drifting there now. You're going all the way back. You're becoming lighter and younger and smaller, all the way back to something that is absolutely incredible and relevant to what you're facing. And you're just allowing that process to happen. On the count of 4, you're just moving through time and space. The days, the weeks, the months, the years are all peeling back. And on the count of 3, it doesn't matter to you what this scene is, if it's something remembered or if it's something metaphorical. You're just letting go and allowing yourself to fully yield and surrender on this internal journey. You're taking step 2. Already beginning to feel any emotions coming into the body. And on the count of 1, be there now. Back in this incredibly important and relevant scene. And I want you to see yourself there from your current day perspective. And as you take a look around that scene, you're switching on your eyes in that scene, you're switching on your ears in that scene, you're switching on your body, your emotions, your feeling, your vibration, your sensations. and you're switching on your knowingness. As you enter this scene, you instantly know in what ways this is relevant to what you're facing. And as you see that younger you there, just taking your parent self over to him or her and going ahead and embracing them, that younger self. And I want you now, in your own time and your own words, to go ahead and to comfort that younger you, to go ahead and to say whatever it is that you needed to hear that you didn't hear, that resulted in you believing this thing, that you weren't enough, or that you couldn't cope, or that you're all alone, or whatever it is. Be there now with that younger version of you, and just go ahead and whisper out loud to yourself exactly what it is that you needed to hear in order to know that you are enough. Just take these few next moments of silence to go ahead and do that, to be that loving parent. Allowing these words to guide you, to soothe you. And right now, your parent self, your adult self, is able to help the younger you and correct that misbelief, perhaps, to soothe the wounds of pain and trauma. As you comfort the younger you, this beautiful inner child that resides within you today, you right now see and feel all of the ways in which those particular beliefs have affected your current parenting with your own kids. And as you drift down deeper and deeper into acknowledgement of that, you soften into the most beautiful compassion and love for yourself, knowing that any other person in that situation would have probably believed the same thing. And from this higher perspective, you are able to comfort and soothe that younger you. And just now allowing all of those words of wisdom from your parent self to soothe your inner child. This inner child that sometimes shows up in your own parenting in ways that need care and love. And so you give that love to yourself now. And as you move through the challenges that you face as a parent, it is from this adult perspective that you show up. It is not the younger you that needs to solve those problems or face those challenges or parent your own child. It is the adult you, the empowered you, the you that knows that you are absolutely enough, the you that sees the truth in your magnificence and strength as a parent, in your ability to stay calm and compassionate and loving, not only with your children, but it starts with yourself. And as you find new ways to love parts of yourself, you notice that that opens up your heart to loving your child or your children even deeper, drifting down deeper and deeper into this beautiful feeling of self-love. knowing that you are enough, that you are an amazing parent, and that you, just like your parents, are healing past hurts. And now sending love all through the generations, upward in your lineage. And now just letting go of anything that no longer serves you. Just feeling that beautiful release, that weight off your shoulders, of letting go of old ways, of old paradigms, of old parenting methods that are not related to who you are today. And as you drift down deeper and deeper, you're absorbing all of these beautiful strengthening qualities that allow you to stay in your center as a parent and to not let your own wounds affect the way that you show up. And so you love your own inner child with a fierce maternal or paternal protection of which you love your own child. And now just allowing yourself to release, seeing yourself moving through the rest of the day, next week, next month, as having already shown up differently, of having already released this challenge that you dived into today. You see yourself as having moved through that with ease and grace. As you allow yourself to rapidly shift and change and up level, deepening into your own inner work through this group, through all of your other practices, as you acknowledge yourself for being here today, or for doing the inner work, and for taking the steps to heal your own inner wounds so that you can show up from love. And that is exactly what you are deciding right now as you deepen down into your conviction. Knowing and trusting yourself that you absolutely have what it takes to step into this next level of you and your parenting. And you see that for yourself right now in your mind's eye. You can feel that, how it feels to parent that way. So peaceful, so calm, so centered. And as you now just lock all of this goodness in, you feel deeply connected to your center, so that the things that happen around you, you're able to respond and not react. Feeling grounded and balanced, feeling stable and secure. As you deepen your connection to yourself, it so too flows on to your children. And so it is. And in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. And as I do, you're going to come all the way back fully into your body, into full presence and awareness, ready to continue your day feeling amazing and refreshed. So now on the count of 1, you're moving your fingers and your toes. You're feeling your awareness coming back into your physical body and the space that you're in. On the count of 2, you're aware of your thinking mind coming all the way back. Your conscious thoughts are returning. You're coming back into full awareness. And on the count of 3, you're taking a nice deep breath. Maybe a stretch for any of you feeling like you need it. And now on the count of 4, you're opening up your eyes effortlessly. And on the count of 5, you're all the way back, feeling refreshed, feeling as if you've just been for a swim in a Bali waterfall or had a 2-hour massage.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That was incredible, Rani.
Awesome. Did you like it? What came up for you, Steph?
Oh, wow. I had a scene that I was at the local swimming pool
Mm-hmm.
where we had swimming lessons as kids with my brother and sister, and my mum would always take us. And I had this feeling of not wanting to do the lesson. It was too chilly, it was cold. We did it for years after school, you know, through winter and summer, and not wanting to go in and just feeling upset and kind of like stick in the mud refusal, and just having that feeling that I wasn't being heard and I was being silly. And I'm the littlest in the family. I'm the youngest.
So some powerlessness there
Oh,
too. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
some really big stuff.
And
There's feelings. Yes.
wow. And how may I ask, how is that relevant to what you're facing right now? Like, in what ways does that powerless feeling show up? It may not even be a parenting issue, but you know, sometimes these feelings can carry over into even seemingly unrelated areas of our life.
Yeah. I guess you know, in lots of different areas, that I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of, I feel, comes along with a feeling of powerlessness
Yeah.
and frustration, and you're not hearing me, or I'm not getting what I want, and this is,
Yeah.
I kick myself in those moments. And so yeah, I feel like this is gonna like settle over the next little while, because
Mm-hmm.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
And
you know what's beautiful about the subconscious mind, Steph? Well, there's many beautiful things about it. One is that you can reprogram it and use it to create the life that you want and align your beliefs to it. But the other thing that I was going to say, least impressive, but also important, is when we do a regression like that, your subconscious mind goes back to whatever it deems is most relevant. So you might right now, like you said, not really know where this lands because you don't even know potentially why that showed up for you, but we can trust our subconscious
I
minds to
know,
show.
I'm
You
already know.
already know.
Now
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
that.
See,
Oh, I've
you
got
can
it.
trust, you can always trust the subconscious mind to show you whatever it is that's really most needed. And that's how we know it's not your thinking mind that took you to that scene and
Yeah.
your subconscious, because otherwise you'd be like, why am I here at the swimming pool and during this? That's when you know. Yeah. So anyone who's watching and they're like, why did I see that bizarre scene? That means you were truly at the right level of hypnosis in order to go there. Because if it made sense, then that means it was directed by your subconscious. But if it doesn't make sense, that means it was indeed directed by your subconscious, which means we are indeed going to the core of something really important.
Ooh, wow. I'm having these like yeah, these reflections. I hope that was as powerful and kind of visceral for people who are watching. I know there's a few of you who are watching and listening in, and we would love to know, you know, share as much or as little as you are comfortable, but please, you know, let us know what comes up for you a little bit. And if you need support around things like this, I want to ask, and I will, you know, Rani, how can people get in touch with you? Where can they find out more about your work and what you have coming up as well?
Thanks, Steph. Yeah. So if anyone needs any help with any integration of what we did today, or indeed just whatever it is that they're going through, I offer across the board to anyone who's interested in talking to me a free 30-minute session. And so even if that's, you know, directing you to the type of work that's right for you, or perhaps it might be that we could do something together, I'll still be helping you in your journey no matter what is the outcome. So that's totally obligation free. And I also have this amazing free online immersion coming up on May 22nd. It's called 10 Days of Transformation. And every single day we're going to be doing practices exactly like one of the ones that we just did here. Yeah, so that's going to be relevant. There's going to be like an inner child healing session as well, and lots of different topics really designed to unearth like the little bits and pieces that get in our way and stop us from having the life that we want.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I'm going to put your free 30-minute link.
Oh yeah,
Shall we put
please.
that in the description or maybe in the comments? So that if anyone is keen, they can jump on and book a session with Rani. That is so generous. Thank you so much. And I encourage.
Well, I would just talk to anyone. Like if someone walked past me in the street, I would happily have a 30-minute conversation with someone at the supermarket who needs help on something as well, you know? So yeah, I'm here to serve.
Yeah, awesome. That is beautiful. I'm going to, I'm just popping it in now, actually, on the comments. So you guys should sort of see that come up right now. There's a Calendly link for Rani and you're able to jump on. I'll put it later. I'll put it later on YouTube as well when this goes up. So is there any last little thing you wanted to share with us before we jump off?
Yeah, basically whatever it is that you guys are all facing right now, like whatever is the current level of difficulty or stuck point or the thing that you're working through, I always just say, like, go to what is really at the core of that. Like, just see what you can do to dive deeply down into your own heart, into your own childhood, and to really see how whatever it is that you're feeling now in relation to your child, is there any pattern? Is there any relevance? Is there any repeats that are going on? Because if so, then you have the power to transform. You know, you can change the entire dynamic with your child by only just working on your own self. Yeah. So yeah, the power is in your hands.
Yeah, I love that. And that's why you're a transformational hypnotherapist, because this work is transformational. So
yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is, because like when you're just like trying to make a change, you're like, okay, I'll do it right. But when it's just like a natural flowing behavior, like you actually feel like you have the emotional freedom to do it, to parent in a different way, or to not yell. Like it's not like you have to stop yourself from yelling. It's like you actually have the freedom to not yell. Yes. Or, you know, like it's just beautiful how that feels inside when you have that freedom, where before you were just getting like automatically pulled or compelled to respond to react in a certain way. And to have freedom over those like reactions and triggers is really nice. Yeah.
Awesome.
So don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up. Do the inner work. It is so worth it. It is so transformational. It is, and our kids, you know, our kids deserve us to be the best that we can, which sometimes we need a little bit of help. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, and many times, Steph, like a lot of these people here in this group I'm watching, and me and you, we're all pattern interrupters. We're actually like, there's many things that are stopping with us, and it's because of like the bravery of people who just sat here and watched this and did that type of inner work where they're willing to look at themselves. So yeah, here's to us who are doing things differently and creating a new future for the next generation.
Yeah, we are. We're changing the way our kids are showing up as well, and how they may show up as parents one day, which is exciting to think about.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Rani.
Thanks, Steph. Thanks for watching, everyone. It's great to see you guys.
Thank you, guys, and we will see you next time for another interview. Thank you so much, Rani. That was beautiful.
Thanks.